Chapter 1. What's the big deal? Asterisk. I stared at the monitor, my pulse hammering in my ears. The email subject line glared back at me like a threat. Voluntary resignation submitted, confirmation pending. I blinked twice. My breath caught. Resignation? I hadn't submitted anything. My cursor hovered over the sender's field. It wasn't HR. It wasn't me. The submission name was written in bold letters. Submitted by Lena Hart, my girlfriend. My girlfriend of 5 years. Also the company's marketing lead and the woman who sat beside me in every meeting, reminding me to trust the system. My throat dried. I rose from my chair, half stumbling toward the hallway. My mind screamed this has to be a mistake, but my heart already knew it wasn't. The glass walls of her office glimmered under the afternoon light. I pushed the door open without knocking. Lena, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. Why the hell did you submit my resignation form? She barely looked up from her screen. A faint smirk tugged at her lips. Oh, you saw that already? Already? My pulse spiked. You did submit it. Are you out of your mind? She sighed, leaning back in her chair. Relax, Ethan. It was just a joke. My stomach turned cold. A joke? Yeah, she said lightly, twirling a pen between her fingers. Ryan and I made a bet. We wanted to see if you'd notice before the deadline. Ryan, the rookie analyst, the one I'd trained myself. I felt my voice shake. You made a bet using my job. Lena frowned, irritated, like I was the one being unreasonable. It's not like you can't withdraw it in the system. Don't be so dramatic. What's the big deal? Those words, what's the big deal? They hit harder than the betrayal itself. I stared at her, trying to process the absurdity of it all. 5 years together, every night of late work, every project I'd pushed through exhaustion for this company, for us. And she calls it a joke. I stepped closer, my voice barely holding steady. Lena, be honest with yourself. If the one who submitted the resignation request today was Ryan, would you still say, what's the big deal? For the first time, her smirk faltered. Her eyes flickered over me. The sweat-stained shirt, the dark circles under my eyes, the faint tremor in my hands. Guilt flashed in her face for just a second before she crushed it, hardening her tone. You're overreacting. I swallowed, my throat burning. Do you even understand what could have happened if I hadn't checked my dashboard today? My renewal deadline was in 3 hours. Lena, her pen stilled. I worked my whole year for the renewal, then reapply. She snapped, cutting me off. Stop making this sound like betrayal. Something inside me went quiet. I looked at her and realized I didn't recognize the woman sitting there anymore. She wasn't the Lena who used to pack me lunch when I worked overnight. She wasn't the one who said, we'll make it to the top together. This Lena looked at me like I was a burden she couldn't wait to drop. I took a shaky breath, trying to hold onto the last piece of sanity in me. Lena, Ryan's the rookie you fought so hard to hire. Don't tell me this was his idea. Her lips pressed into a thin line. You really can't handle a joke, can you? Ryan was just teasing me about your obsession with paperwork. I told him you'd probably check the system every hour. Guess I was right. My voice cracked. So you risked my career to win a joke. She shrugged, turning back to her screen. Don't be so dramatic. You act like you've been fired. Something inside me finally broke. The anger didn't come as fire. It came as ice. Cold, slow, suffocating. Lena, I said quietly, do you realize what you've just done? She met my gaze, almost defiant. Yeah, I proved you take work way too seriously. For a second, I couldn't speak. My throat moved 3 times before I found my voice. Maybe that's the difference between us, I said. I take things seriously because they matter to me. Her hand froze over the mouse, but she didn't look up, so I turned away. My vision blurred, but my mind was crystal clear. If this was a joke to her, then I'd be the punchline that walked away. Chapter 2. Deadweight Marcus's assistant messaged me at 9 a.m. sharp. Bring your badge. Meeting room 3. No subject line. No explanation. My gut already knew. When I walked in, Ryan was sitting at the end of the table, my seat. He gave me a quick grin, tapping a pen against the table like he owned the place. Lena sat beside Marcus, scrolling on her phone. She didn't even glance up. Marcus folded his hands. "Ethan, thanks for coming. Let's keep this brief." My heart thudded. "This about my renewal?" He nodded once. "About that, after reviewing recent project outcomes, we've decided to make some structural changes." "Structural," I repeated. "Meaning what exactly?" Ryan leaned back, voice smooth. "Meaning we're streamlining roles. Too much overlap slows progress." I stared at him. "You've been here 2 months." He shrugged. "Sometimes fresh perspective exposes inefficiency." I turned to Marcus. "You're letting the rookie call me inefficient?" Marcus sighed. "No one's saying that, but your renewal proposal was never finalized in the system. Technically, your contract expired yesterday." My hands clenched. "Never finalized because Lena canceled it." Marcus frowned. "Lena." She finally looked up, smiling tightly. "It was an accident. I already told HR." "An accident," I said. "You literally signed your name on the request." Her tone flattened. "Ethan, please don't make this personal." The room spun for a second for walls closing in. Fluorescent lights buzzing loud enough to drown my thoughts. Marcus cleared his throat. "We're offering you a 2-week transition period with pay. Ryan will handle your current accounts. You can reapply next quarter." I almost laughed. "You're giving my position to him." Silence. Ryan smirked. "It's temporary. Unless, of course, performance proves otherwise." There it was. The knife twisting in daylight. I felt every muscle tighten, but my voice came out steady. "You really think you can handle the clients I built from scratch?" He shrugged. "Already have 3 of them on board for new strategies." "New strategies?" I echoed. Using my word. Marcus's jaw tightened. "Let's keep things professional, gentlemen." Professional. The word tasted like ash. I looked at Lena. "Did you know about this meeting?" She didn't blink. "I scheduled it." A short laugh escaped me, bitter, cracked. "Of course you did." Marcus pushed a folder toward me. "This outlines the transition plan. HR will assist." I didn't touch it. "Save the paper." "You've already written me out." He sighed again. The kind of sigh people give when they want the problem to leave. "Ethan, take some time off. You've been under pressure for years. Maybe a break will help you reset." I looked around the table, 3 faces staring back, all pretending this was normal. Ryan's grin, Lena's bored eyes, Marcus's practiced calm. Something in me snapped, not loud, but final, like glass quietly cracking. "I've given this place 5 years," I said. "Every late night, every deadline, every mess I cleaned that someone else caused. And you think I need a reset?" Marcus opened his mouth, but I didn't let him speak. "You're replacing experience with convenience," I said, "and when it collapses, don't say no one warned you." Ryan rolled his pen across the table. "If it collapses, I'll rebuild it. Then I hope you like picking up rubble." I said. Lena shifted, her voice low. "Ethan, just go, please." I turned toward her. "Why? So you can finish erasing me?" Her eyes flashed annoyance. "You're overreacting again." Overreacting. That word, her favorite shield. I forced a breath through clenched teeth. "Right. Because betrayal only counts if it's loud." Marcus stood, signaling the meeting was over. "We're done here." I picked up the folder anyway, not to read it, but to make them think I cared. My fingers trembled as I slid it under my arm. "Yeah," I said quietly. "We're done." Ryan rose first, stretching like an athlete after practice. "No hard feelings, right?" I met his eyes. "You'll learn something about feelings soon enough." He chuckled. "See you around." "No," I said. "You won't." I walked out before they could see my face twist. The hallway felt longer than ever, every step echoing to loud, to slow. People looked up from their desks, pretending not to know. Word travels fast, and open offices died at my desk. A cardboard box weighted HR's efficiency at its finest. 5 years of my life reduced to folders, a coffee mug, and a dying fern. Lena's reflection shimmered on the glass wall behind me. For a heartbeat, I thought she might say something, anything. She didn't. I powered down my computer, the hum fading into silence. No anger left, only the hollow ache of something irreversible. As I walked out of Greyline Tech, the automatic doors slid open with that same gentle hiss they made every night. I stayed late to fix someone else's mistake, but this time, the air outside felt colder, sharper, like freedom disguised as failure. My phone buzzed. A text from Lena. "Don't make this awkward. It's just work." I stared at it until the screen dimmed. Then I typed back 3 words and deleted them before sending. Some things didn't deserve replies. I tossed the badge into the trash can by the door and kept walking. Behind me, the building gleamed like nothing had happened. Ahead, only silence and the long road home. Chapter 3. Silence hurts louder. I didn't go home right away. The city outside Greyline felt too alive for someone who'd just lost everything. The afternoon sun glared off the glass towers, like it was mocking me, every reflection of version of me that still believed hard work mattered. I walked aimlessly, badge-less, title-less, wondering how 5 years could evaporate in a single meeting. There was a cafe across the street I used to visit with Lena. Back then, we'd sit by the window. She'd tease me for overworking. I'd joke about her caffeine addiction. That corner table was still there, only now it was empty. I sat anyway, ordered black coffee out of habit, though the thought of drinking it made my stomach twist. My phone buzzed again, group chat notifications from work. I almost opened them, then stopped. Did they already replace me in the chat too? Probably. I turned the phone face down. Outside, people hurried by, students, delivery riders, couples laughing over nothing. The world didn't pause for anyone's tragedy. I took a slow breath. Get it together, I whispered to myself. It's just a job. But at WAS in single quotes, it was every sleepless night, every 3 a.m. fix to save a product from crashing, every moment I believed that loyalty still meant something. And Lena, I pressed a hand over my chest like I could squeeze the ache smaller. I kept replaying her expression during the meeting, flat, distant, like I was some stranger complaining about paperwork. The same woman who once told me she believed in me when no one else did. Maybe I was the only one who meant it. I opened my messages again. There were a few unread ones from colleagues. Heard what happened, man. Sorry. Marcus said it was restructuring. Hope you're okay. Ryan's taking your seat, lol, wild. The last one stung most, not because it was cruel, but because it was casual. Like my life had turned into office gossip before I'd even cleared my desk. I typed out a reply, deleted it, then put the phone away. Silence really did hurt louder than words. The coffee went cold. I left it untouched and finally walked home. My apartment looked smaller than I remembered. Maybe it was the boxes I'd packed, too many memories into little space. My desk was still littered with drafts of project notes, sticky reminders, and Lena's handwriting. Don't skip lunch. You got this. I stared at them for a long time, then swept them all into the trash. It didn't feel like anger. It felt like surgery cutting away something that had already gone rotten. My laptop blinked away, the Greyline logo still glowing on the startup screen. I logged in, half expecting my credentials to be revoked already. They weren't. For a moment, I hovered over the shared drive where every campaign, every strategy file, every client contact sat neatly labeled. My entire career right there. I could have deleted everything, locked them out, watched Ryan scramble when the foundation crumbled beneath him. The temptation pulsed like a heartbeat, but then I remembered Lena's voice. Don't make this personal. Fine. I wouldn't. I'd make it professional. I zipped the folders, encrypted the backups, and sent them to myself. Everything I built mine again. Then I logged out for the last time. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the sound of Marcus's sigh, Ryan's smug tone, the scrape of Lena's chair when she stood up to leave around 3 a.m. I found myself pacing, phone in hand, half dialing her number before stopping. What would I even say? That she'd ruined me. She already knew that I still loved her. That would only make me pathetic. Instead, I scrolled through old photos, the two of us at company events. Her leaning into me with that half smile she used when she didn't want to look too affectionate in public. I remembered how proud she'd been when I got promoted, how she'd whispered, "You earned this. Don't ever doubt that." I laughed bitterly. Guess I should have doubted sooner. The screen dimmed, leaving me in darkness again. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, and let exhaustion pull me under. When I woke up, sunlight cut across the blinds, harsh and unwelcome. I opened my inbox. No new messages except one. Subject: termination formalities. From HR department. Gray lines etch a standard email. Polite, cold. "We appreciate your contributions. Please return any company property within 3 business days." I clicked delete. Seconds later, another notification popped up. LinkedIn. Ryan had just updated his profile. Team lead, Grayline Tech. My jaw tightened. 2 months. That's all it took for him to climb over 5 years of my effort. I didn't know whether to laugh or throw my phone. Instead, I opened a blank document. For years, I'd helped other people write their pitches, their success stories. Maybe it was time I wrote my own. At first, the cursor blinked in mockery, daring me to start. Then, slowly, words came out, not polished, not careful, just raw, about what it feels like to be betrayed by the people you trusted with your sanity, about building something only to watch it be stolen. I wrote until my fingers cramped. When I looked up, the sun had shifted across the room. I didn't have a plan yet, but for the first time in days, the silence didn't feel like a cage. It felt like space, dangerous, empty, but mine. Chapter 4. Echoes of a name. I didn't plan to open my laptop that morning. After the last few days, I'd promised myself some kind of peace, a walk, a shower, a moment without Grayland haunting me. But curiosity is cruel. It finds you even when you don't want it to. When I did check my inbox, there was an unread message sitting quietly in the corner from Ava Carter. Horizon Dynamics. Subject: "We need to talk." At first, I thought it was spam. Then I remembered Ava, our biggest rival's PR director. We'd gone head-to-head during a product campaign last year. She'd been sharp, unrelenting, the kind of person who never flinched during a pitch battle. I clicked open. "Ethan, I heard what happened at Grayline. I'll keep it simple. We're expanding, and your name came up more than once. If you're open to a conversation, let's meet. No obligations." For a long time, I just stared at the screen. My name came up. By who? The logical part of me whispered that this was professional. Horizon had always wanted Grayland's creative strategies. But another part of me, the broken, betrayed part, wondered if this was fate giving me one last chance. I typed back before I could overthink. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. your call." Then I hit send and exhaled. The next morning, I found myself in Horizon's downtown office, sitting across from Ava. She looked exactly as I remember: black blazer, sharp eyes, a voice that could slice through excuses. She smiled slightly. "I didn't expect you to reply so fast." I shrugged. Didn't have a lot of meetings to cancel. That made her laugh, a short, knowing sound. "Fair enough. Look, Ethan, I'll be honest. Everyone's talking about what happened at Grayline. Of course they are." I tried to sound calm. Nothing like a public humiliation to boost engagement. Her eyes softened a little. "It's not pity, it's respect. You build the campaign. Everyone knows it wasn't Ryan or Marcus pulling the strings." I blinked, caught off guard. "You know that." She nodded. "Let's just say word travels fast in this industry, and some people still appreciate loyalty. For the first time in weeks, I felt the ice around my chest start to crack. She leaned forward. "We want you here, Ethan. No politics. No middlemen." "I'll make sure of that." My throat tightened. "And you're sure this isn't about stealing Grayline's formula?" Ava smiled faintly. "Grayline stole you. I'm just fixing the imbalance." That night, I stood on my balcony watching the city lights flicker like coded signals. I should have been celebrating, but something in me refused to relax. I opened my phone again, an unread message blinking from an unknown number. I heard you met with Horizon. No name. Just that. I typed back. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Then finally, it's Lena. My heart stumbled. I didn't reply. After a moment, another message came. Can we talk? I stared at those 3 words for so long I forgot to breathe. Then I set the phone down. No, not this time. I'd spent too long listening to her voice, convincing myself betrayal could sound reasonable still. Sleep wouldn't come that night. The next day, Ava called again. Decision time. Ethan, are you in? Her tone was crisp, confident, the opposite of the chaos in my head. I looked at my reflection in the black laptop screen. Tired eyes, rough stubble. A man still halfway between ruin and rebirth. I'm in, I said finally. Good. Welcome to Horizon. When the call ended, I sat there for a long time. The silence almost sacred. For once, I didn't feel like I was running from something. I was walking toward it. Weeks passed. Horizon wasn't Greyline, it was cleaner, colder, but honest. No games, no hidden knives. Ava kept her word. She gave me space, authority, trust, the 3 things I've been starved for. My team respected me. My ideas mattered again. But some nights, when I worked late, I'd still catch myself typing L in my search bar before stopping. Old habits die harder than old love. Then one Friday evening, Ava stopped by my desk. You've heard. I frowned. Heard what? She raised a brow. Greyline. Their client just pulled out. The product launch bombed. Publicly. I blinked. Wait, what? That's exactly what happens, she finished. When you hand leadership to someone who copies instead of creates. A hollow laugh escaped me. Ryan, she nodded. And Marcus? He is being investigated for misusing funds. Word is, he's taking an extended leave. For a long time, I didn't speak. I should have felt triumphant, vindicated. But all I felt was tired. Ava studied me quietly. Karma's not always loud, Ethan. Sometimes it's just slow. I gave a small nod. Yeah, slow, but thorough. She smiled faintly. You've got a future here. Don't waste it looking backward. As she walked away, I glanced at my phone again. Still no new messages from Lena. Maybe she'd finally stopped trying. Or maybe silence was her punishment too. Either way, I didn't need to check anymore. Later that night, as I left the office, the city felt different. Not brighter, just clearer. For months, my reflection had been a stranger staring back. Now, for the first time, I saw myself again. Not the man who begged for renewal. Not the fool who mistook comfort for love. Just someone learning to start over. And maybe that was enough. Chapter 5. The apology I never heard. I saw her again 3 months later. It was a Thursday evening, and Horizon had just wrapped a successful product demo. The team went out for drinks, but I left early. I wasn't in the mood to celebrate, not that night. The city was warm, glowing with early summer light. I stopped at a crosswalk, scrolling absent-mindedly through my emails, when a voice behind me froze my entire body. Ethan. Soft, familiar, terrifying. I turned. There she was, Lena. Same navy blazer, same calm expression, but her eyes, they were tired, like she hadn't slept properly in weeks. Hey, she said quietly, almost unsure. I stared at her, words caught somewhere between disbelief and anger. You have some nerve. I know. Her gaze dropped to the pavement. I just needed to see you. You could have emailed, I said. You're good at sending formal notices. She winced. I deserve that. I started to walk past her, but she reached out, fingertips barely brushing my sleeve. Please, just 5 minutes. I didn't know why I stopped. Maybe curiosity, maybe closure, maybe weakness. We ended up sitting on a bench near the plaza, surrounded by strangers who had no idea that the quiet woman across from me had once dismantled my life. She was the first to speak. I heard about Horizon. You're doing well. I let out a humorless laugh. You checking up on me now? No, it's just people talk. I'm glad you landed on your feet. I didn't land. I rebuilt. That shut her up for a second. She took a breath. Ethan, I made mistakes. Mistakes. I turned to face her fully. That's what we're calling it now. She flinched at my tone. I didn't mean for things to go the way they did. I leaned forward, voice low. You signed off my resignation request, Lena. You approved it. Do you have any idea what that felt like? Her lips trembled. I was under pressure. From who? Marcus? Or your new favorite, Ryan? Her eyes flickered. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. I snapped. She looked down, clutching her bag like a shield. Marcus told me you were planning to leave for Horizon months before it happened. He said you were negotiating behind the team's back, that you used company data. I believed him. I thought you'd already made your choice. My chest went cold. So instead of asking me, you just cut me loose. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I was protecting the team. You have to believe me. I laughed bitterly. Protecting the team or protecting your career? She didn't answer. Didn't have to. The silence said enough. We sat there for a while, the city buzzing around us. Somewhere, a busker played guitar. The melody felt too calm for how violently my heart was beating. I lost everything because of you. I said finally. My job, my reputation, my trust in people. She wiped in her eyes. I lost something too. Like what? Her voice cracked. You? I froze. For a second, it didn't sound manipulative or rehearsed. Just broken dots. She continued. After you left, everything fell apart. Marcus turned on me. Ryan's campaign failed. HR started asking questions. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I destroyed the only person who ever actually cared. I stared at her, 100 emotions colliding at once: pity, anger, grief. You're 3 months too late, I said quietly. She nodded. I know. I just wanted to apologize. I searched her face for sincerity. It was there, faint, fragile, but real. Maybe another version of me would have accepted it. The one who still believed people could fix what they had broken just by saying sorry. But that version of me was gone. I don't need your apology, I said softly. Not because I don't want to hear it, but because it doesn't change anything. Her lip quivered. Ethan, please, no. I interrupted, standing up. You had your chance to believe in me. I spent years proving myself to everyone. The one time I needed someone to stand by me, you sided with a rumor. She stood too, desperate. You think I don't regret it every day. You think I don't replay the meeting in my head. I don't care what you replay, I said, because I'm not in it anymore. The words came out colder than I intended, but I didn't take them back. She just stared at me, eyes wide, glassy. Then she nodded slowly. You've changed. I met her gaze. You made sure of that. I walked away before she could say another word. My hands were shaking. But for once, it wasn't from anger. It was release. The air felt different, lighter. Like I'd finally stepped out of a room I didn't realize I'd been trapped in. As I turned the corner, I looked back once. She was still there, standing by the bench, small against the noise of the city. For a fleeting moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But some people don't deserve a second chance at the same heart they broke the first time. That night, I didn't open her messages. I deleted them all. Ava called me later, checking in about the next campaign. I told her I'd send updates in the morning. Before hanging up, she paused. You sound different, she said. Maybe I am. Good, she replied softly. Keep it that way. When the call ended, I stood by the window watching the city again. This time, there was no ache, just a quiet kind of peace. Because sometimes, the most powerful apology is the one you never let yourself hear. Chapter 6. The Cost of Closure. I woke up to my name trending. Not in the usual corporate gossip kind of way. This was everywhere. Business blogs, Twitter threads, industry forums. Greyline implodes amid financial scandal. Whistleblower confirms fraudulent campaign data. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls, messages, emails from journalists. Horizon's communications team was already on fire control. By the time I reached the office, Ava was waiting in my workspace, tablet in hand. You saw it. Hard to miss. She nodded, calm as ever. Turns out Marcus was funneling budget money into side deals. Ryan covered it up. When the new investors found discrepancies, the whole thing blew open. I exhaled slowly. So it's over. Pretty much. Greyline's board suspended operations this morning. Marcus resigned. Ryan's name is plastered all over the news. And Lena. Ava hesitated. She wasn't charged, but she's finished there. Word is, she quit before they could fire her. I leaned back, rubbing a hand over my face. Guess karma finally clocked in. Ava studied me quietly. So what now? You want to make a statement. The press will eat it up. The wrong prodigy who rose again. It's poetic for a moment. The idea was tempting. Public vindication. Closure in headlines. But then I remembered the way Lena looked at me the night. Hollow. Defeated. Human. And somehow, the victory didn't taste right anymore. No. I said. No statements. Ava frowned slightly. You sure? Yeah. Let them tell the story however they want. I already lived it. She tilted her head, then smiled faintly. You've changed, Ethan. I smirked. I hear that a lot lately. Later that afternoon, I was heading out when I noticed a familiar voice echoing through the lobby. Lena. She was standing by the reception desk, talking quietly with security. Her hair was pulled back, her blazer wrinkled. She looked like a shadow of the person I used to know. When she saw me, her expression faltered. Ethan, I froze. What are you doing here? I came to return something. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small flash drive. It's yours. The campaign data from last year. The one Marcus deleted. I stared at it. You kept that? She nodded. I thought, maybe one day you'd need it. Her voice cracked halfway through. I was stupid, Ethan. I believed people who didn't deserve my trust. And I hurt the one person who did. I didn't take the drive. Not yet. Why bring this now? Because I didn't want to carry it anymore. For a second, neither of us spoke. The noise of the city bled through the glass doors, horns, footsteps, laughter, life going on without us. Finally, I said, you didn't need to bring this. You could have just mailed it. She smiled faintly. Maybe. But then I wouldn't get to say goodbye. Her eyes searched mine. Not pleading this time. Just tired. I sighed, took the flash drive, and pocketed it. Goodbye, Lena. She nodded slowly. I hope you find peace, Ethan. Already working on it. And with that, she turned and walked away. No dramatic tears. No last look. Just silence. And somehow, that was the loudest ending of all. The night. I plugged in the flash drive. Inside were old drafts, concept sketches, campaign footage. All the work I thought I'd lost when I was pushed out. I scrolled through each folder. Memory after memory flashing back, sleepless nights, inside jokes, creative breakthroughs. Every file was a timestamp of who I used to be. When I reached the final folder, I hesitated. It was labeled Renewal. Inside was a video file. I clicked play. It was Lena, recorded months ago. She was in her office, speaking directly to the camera. If you're watching this, Ethan, it means I finally stopped being a coward. You were right about everything. I let fear and pride ruin the only person who actually cared about this company, about me. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope you know I never stopped believing in you, even when I pretended not to. The screen went black. I sat there for a long time, the glow of the monitor painting my room in dull blue light. Then, quietly, I deleted the file. Not out of anger, not even closure, just peace, because I didn't need her words anymore. Weeks later, Horizon's biggest campaign launched, one I led from start to finish. The results shattered projections. Investors were thrilled. Ava raised a glass at the celebration party and said, "To Ethan, proof that resilience is louder than revenge." Everyone cheered. I smiled, lifted my glass, and took a slow sip. But in my head, I wasn't celebrating a victory. I was mourning an old version of myself, the one who needed validation to feel whole. That part of me was gone, and that was okay. When I stepped outside after midnight, the air was crisp. The city lights shimmered against the river, reflected like broken stars. I pulled out my phone, opened my notes app, and typed for simple words. Closure isn't revenge, it's release. Then I locked the screen, slipped it into my pocket, and walked away, not towards something, not from anything, just forward. And for the first time in a long time, that felt enough. Chapter 7. The noise after silence. The strangest part about peace is how loud it feels. When you finally have it. For months, my life had been all fire and static, headlines, confrontations, sleepless nights. Then suddenly, quiet. Grayline was gone. Lena was gone. The noise that used to define my every waking minute had vanished. But silence isn't really silent. It just makes you hear things you used to ignore. Your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, and sometimes those are louder than chaos ever was. Ava called it recovery mode. You've been running on adrenaline for a year, she said, dropping a cup of black coffee on my desk. Now you don't know what to do with the stillness. I smiled faintly. Guess I forgot what normal feels like. She leaned against the doorframe. Normal's overrated. You need something new. Like what? She shrugged. Something that's yours again. Not the company. Not revenge. Just you? I didn't answer right away, but her words stuck. The next weekend, I found myself in an art studio tucked between the cafes downtown. It was quiet, except for the soft clatter of brushes and low music humming from a speaker. I hadn't painted in years. Not since college. Not since before everything became about strategy decks and quarterly reviews. The instructor handed me a blank canvas. No rules, she said. Just paint what you feel. So I did that at first. My hands were stiff. Every brush stroke felt wrong, like my mind was still trapped in old patterns. Precision, control, perfection. But halfway through, something shifted. I stopped thinking, stopped planning, just moved. Blue bled into gray. Black melted into amber. It wasn't beautiful, not even close, but it was honest. When I stepped back, the instructor smiled softly. Looks heavy, she said. Yeah, I murmured, but lighter than before. A week later, Horizon's board offered me a promotion, creative director. It should have felt like a dream come true. But when I looked at the contract, something in me hesitated. I thought about late nights, toxic deadlines, endless competition, all the things that had nearly broken me before. So I told them no. Ava's reaction was exactly what I expected. No, you just turned down a 6-figure title. Ethan, I know, she blinked. Why? Because I finally realized what I want. And what's that? Balance. For a moment, she stared at me like she was trying to read if I was joking. Then she smiled, slow, proud. Took you long enough. By the time spring rolled in, my life had settled into something almost unrecognizable and surprisingly peaceful. Morning runs along the river, painting on weekends, late night talks with Ava that sometimes bled into laughter instead of strategy. We never talked about the past. Not Lena, not Grayline, not the wreckage. It was like we'd both silently agreed to leave it buried. But one evening, while we were walking out of a client dinner, she broke the silence. You ever think about reaching out to her? I didn't need to ask who she meant. I shook my head. No, some stories don't need sequels. Ava looked at me for a long moment before nodding. Fair enough, then, almost casually, she said, you know, you're not the same person who walked into my office a year ago. I hope not, I said. He was angry all the time. And scared, she added gently. Yeah. I smiled faintly. Mostly scared. We stood there on the sidewalk, the night air cool against our faces, city lights glimmering in the reflection of her eyes. For the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I was running from something or chasing anything either, just existing. And that was enough. One morning, I got an email from an unknown address. No subject line, No attachments. Just one sentence. I hope you're painting again. No name. But I didn't need one. I read it twice, then deleted it, not out of spite, but because I didn't need to reply. Some things are better left as quiet acknowledgments across distance. That night, I went back to the studio and started another painting. This one was softer, streaks of gold cutting through deep ocean blue. When I was done, I titled it After the Noise. Life didn't become perfect after that. Some mornings still hurt, some memories still stung. But I'd learned something important. Closure isn't the end. It's the beginning of a quieter chapter you write for yourself. A few weeks later, Ava and I were walking home after work. She nudged me playfully. You know, people are starting to notice you smile again. People exaggerate. Maybe, she grinned. But I like it. I didn't answer. Just smiled. Because she was right. Maybe peace isn't about silence at all. Maybe it's about learning how to hear life again after losing it. The laughter, the mistakes, the second chances you never expected. And for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of what came next. Chapter 8, Echoes of Tomorrow. It's strange how endings don't always come with noise. Sometimes they arrive softly, like a whisper you almost miss. 6 months had passed since I walked away from the chaos that used to define me. The headlines had faded, the industry had moved on, and for once, I wasn't chasing anything. I woke up early now, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Sunlight would spill across my apartment floor, catching on half-finished canvases leaning against the walls. Each one told a different story. None of them were perfect, but they were mine. I'd learned to live without the constant pulse of ambition humming in my veins, or at least, I thought I had died. It started with an unexpected call. Ethan Cole. The voice was calm, professional. A woman from a new startup called Revin. They were building something different. A company that valued ethics, transparency, and creative control. Your name came highly recommended, she said. We'd like to offer you a leadership position. You have full freedom to build your own team. For a moment, I didn't say anything. I just stared at the city skyline outside my window. I promised myself I wouldn't go back. The world had already taken enough from me. My sleep, my trust, my love. But part of me still missed it. The creation, the drive, the thrill of seeing something you built come alive. Can I think about it? I asked finally. Of course, she said. We'd love to have your answer by Friday. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window, watching the lights blink across the skyline like distant memories calling me back. The idea of leading again both excited and terrified me. Was I ready? Or would I just repeat the same mistakes under a new logo? Ava noticed the shift immediately. You've been quiet, she said the next morning, handing me coffee. Just thinking. She raised an eyebrow. That's never good. I smiled faintly. They want me to come back. Who? A new firm. Revin. She didn't respond right away. And I don't know. I said honestly. It's a good offer. But I finally built peace for myself. I don't want to lose it again. Ava leaned against the counter, studying me. You're not the same man who burned out last time. You know your limits now. You know who you are. I thought I did. She reached out and touched my wrist. Light, reassuring. Maybe peace isn't about staying still. Ethan, maybe it's about moving differently. Her words lingered long after she left for work. By Thursday, I found myself standing outside Revin's glass building. I hadn't planned to go. I told myself I was just curious. But curiosity has a way of turning into decision before you realize it. The receptionist smiled. They're expecting you. When I stepped into the conference room, the CEO, a woman named Claire Donovan, greeted me with a handshake that felt steady and grounded. She didn't waste time with flattery. We know your history, she said. What you built, what you lost, and why you walked away. We're not asking for the old Ethan Cole. We're offering space for the new one. It wasn't a pitch. It was an invitation. For the first time in years, I felt something spark quietly inside me. Not pride, not greed, but purpose. I left the meeting without giving an answer. But deep down, I already knew it. That evening, Ava came over with takeout and her usual mix of sarcasm and warmth. "You look like someone who's about to do something reckless," she said, setting the bags down. "Maybe," I said. "Or something, right?" She studied me for a long moment, then smiled. "Then do it. Just promise me one thing." "What's that?" "Don't lose yourself again. Whatever you build this time, build it slow." I nodded. "Deal." Her smile softened. "Good. Because I kind of like this version of you." Something unspoken hung between us after that. Quiet, fragile, real. I didn't try to name it. Some things are better left unlabeled until the right moment. Friday morning, I called Claire. "I'm in," I said. No speeches. No negotiations. Just a simple choice. She paused, then said, "Welcome back, Ethan. Let's build something worth believing in." When I hung up, I sat there for a moment, letting it sink in. My reflection in the laptop screen didn't look like the man who once begged for renewal or chased approval from people who didn't deserve him. This version of me didn't need saving. He just needed direction. Weeks passed quickly after that. New faces, new projects, new energy. I built my team from scratch, people who cared, who wanted to create something meaningful. And every time I felt the old anxiety creeping in, I reminded myself, move differently. It became my quiet mantra. One evening, after a long but fulfilling day, Ava dropped by the office. "You look alive again," she said, leaning against the doorframe, smiling. "I am," I said simply. She nodded. "Good. Because the world doesn't need your revenge anymore. It needs your ideas." Her words hit deeper than she probably realized. Later that night, as I locked up the office, I looked out at the city lights, the same skyline that once symbolized everything I lost. Now, it felt like a promise. I wasn't the man chasing apologies or payback anymore. I was the man who'd learned how to rebuild, slowly, honestly, and without fear. Maybe that's what renewal really meant all along. Not a contract, not a title, just the courage to start again. And as I walked home under the glow of the city, Ava's voice echoed softly in my head. "Build it slow." For the first time in years, I didn't rush. I just smiled, feeling the hum of life return, steady and quiet, like the echo of tomorrow whispering, "You made it."